Welcome back to this video series about the original route through Illinois. This is part 5, Carlinville to St. Louis. I'm composer Nolan Stoltz, and I'm happy to bring you along the road with me. In part 4, we left off here, just south of Carlinville, on this unnamed road along the cemetery. We'll have to detour around these trees and pick up original 66 on the other side on this unnamed road. We have to detour around again, and then this road we'll just have to look down because it's gated off in private property. We'll pick up original 66 on the other side of the bridge, and as you can see, the road is very narrow because it's being retaken over by nature, and so we've got some inspiration for the Among the Trees movement as well. So this video clip actually showed in my Patreon video number 13, so you can check that out as well. You'll notice the width of the roads. They are quite narrow, and so Barnett was narrow, and Deerfield Drive also narrow. And we'll continue along Deerfield Drive on the other side of the bridge. I mentioned in an earlier video that I get inspiration from this road, the very narrow, and so I'm thinking about very tight, perhaps claustrophobic feeling gestures for this AD 1926 movement. But I'm also looking at street scenes like this. Of course, it's very wide, but I'm looking at these buildings that would have existed in 1926. So for instance, just off to the left here, the old Pert Theater dates back to 1921. So we got some inspiration for the show Will Go On as well, but also 1926 because it would have been an active theater at that time. I read that this building on the right was a gas station in the 1920s, so that fits in with AD 1926 as well. The road here gets its name from it being a hard road as opposed to dirt or gravel, essentially being paved, and the name has stuck all these years. 66 dead ends here, so we have to pick it up on the other side of these trees. South of Staunton, we come to DeCamp. First we see DeCamp Station, which is in this old store dating back to the 1920s, and there's 66 there. But if we look off to the west, we see DeCamp, the ghost town, or near ghost town because people do still live in this area. There's just a few buildings, but certainly inspiration for the 66 ghost towns movement. And south of DeCamp is Hamel. North of Hamel is this old church that was established many years before the building was there. But what makes this church very special is this neon cross that gets lit just 10 minutes after sunset. So I actually stayed a night in Hamel, not only to get to know the town, but just to see this cross lit at night. And after Hamel, we have Edwardsville. Coming into Edwardsville in 1926, you would have seen this grocery store. And then the year after, it stayed as a grocery store under this name for 45 years. Further down Hillsborough, 66 turned right on Vandalia Street, and a 1926 traveler would have seen this grocery store on the right side. And on the opposite side of the street, you would have seen a cafe. Here's a period picture from Route66Chick.com and an old postcard for sale on eBay. Next door, they had a tourist home. It's at this point where Route 66 comes into downtown Edwardsville and you get to see these older buildings. Here's looking north up Main Street from 66. Many of the buildings around here predate 66, so a 1926 traveler would have seen them, such as this theater, although it would have been closed at that point. That's because up the road, up Main Street, the Wildey Theater was quite popular. It's an opera house dating back to 1909. I have a separate video dedicated to this theater, so check that out, Patreon video number 85. The first third of the drive through Granite City is all corporate and chains and stuff, but this second third is real nice. It's residential. And then the final third has more of an industrial feel. After 1929, Route 66 turned left and head down to Brooklyn. I have a separate video about that. Brooklyn's a very historic and sadly overlooked Route 66 town. But since we're focusing on AD 1926 right now, we're going to stay straight on Broadway. You see that the road curves left here, but 66 actually continued straight. So we're going to zoom in and continue on the other side. We cross the railroad tracks and we continue on the other side to the approach to the McKinley Bridge, built in 1910. So this would have been how a 1926 traveler entered Missouri. So check out my videos for the different alignments of 66 through St. Louis, particularly the 1926 version, to continue this inspiration trip for AD 1926.